It's Mel from the Air Defense Coalition. I'm back again with another video. Today, what I want to touch on is the ATF revised 4473 form. Now, this form is generating a lot of mixed reviews already, and they just revised this, I believe, the 7th of this month, December 7th, 2022. There's two sides to this coin, and this form is a very slippery slope. You have to be careful how you fill it out. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. I want to let you guys know that what you see here, some of it you may not like and you might find it unconstitutional. And on another note, a lot of people will find this as groundbreaking and a milestone. One of the things I've seen on this form that bothers me a great deal is it looks like they're raising the age to purchase a firearm from 18 years of age to 21 years of age. And that's worrisome because basically what they're telling our young, brave men and women in the armed forces that are 18 years old or younger than 21 years of age is you can go overseas and die for this country. Sure. But if you don't die and you do make it back, you can't even own a firearm. Now, they also talk a lot about ghost guns and straw purchases. What I want to talk about as far as the straw purchases, they're talking about non-resident aliens. That's what they call them. I don't call anybody that, but that's what's on this form. And they also talk about ghost guns, or what they call them here as PMFs. Privately made firearms. Basically, if someone walks into an FFL dealer with a PMF, privately made firearm or ghost gun, that has to be recorded, or that FFL has to create a serial number for that firearm. They basically want it on file. It's not going to stop crime at all, but to each his own. Another thing I found crazy about this is the city and state box is no longer the same on this form. Before, you used to just be able to put where you live, and that's that. Now, they're asking, do you reside within the city limits? And this is important because if you answer this wrong, you're committing a felony, and that's where they jam you up. For instance, if you live in a suburb outside of Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to have to put no in that box, or else you could find yourself in some trouble and they might end up paying you a visit. All right, I'm going to link all of that stuff below. I know you guys came for the Lautenberg Amendment. This is the moment that a lot of you have been waiting for. And if I'm reading this right, according to the language, it looks like a lot of you guys might now be in the clear. And I'm going to read off this exception. This has changed. A person is not prohibited from receiving or possessing a firearm if that person, 1, has been convicted of any federal or state offense pertaining to antitrust violations, unfair trade practices, restraints of trade, or other similar offenses relating to the regulation of business practices. 2, has been convicted of a state misdemeanor punishable by imprisonment of 2 years or less, or 3, following the conviction of a felony or other crime for which the judge could have imprisoned the person for more than 1 year, or a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, has received a pardon, an expungement or set aside of the conviction, or has lost and regained civil rights, the right to vote, sit on a jury, and hold public office in the jurisdiction in which the conviction occurred. And, you hear me? And the law of the convicting jurisdiction does not prohibit the person from receiving or possessing firearms. Persons subject to any of these exceptions or who receive relief from disabilities under 18 U.S.C. 925C should answer no to the applicable question. Also, a person who has no more than 1 conviction of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence against an individual in a dating relationship and is not otherwise prohibited under this chapter is not prohibited if 5 years have elapsed from conviction or completion of the person's custodial or supervisory sentence, whichever occurs later, and the person has not subsequently been convicted of any other misdemeanor crime of violence or any other offense that would disqualify the person under 18 U.S.C. 922G. A person subject to any of these exceptions or who receive relief from disabilities under Section 925C should answer no to the applicable question. So if I'm reading this correctly, this says that if you have a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence conviction on your record, prior to this being revised, you were prohibited by federal law from purchasing a firearm. This changes that, if what I'm reading is correct. Now, I would advise you to get with a local attorney because this is sticky right here, because this could be one of those situations where it could depend on where you live. But this is a federal document that should trump state and local laws. Now, I'm talking directly to you guys who fall under the category of the Lautenberg Amendment. The Lautenberg Amendment is an amendment that was passed and added to the 1968 Gun Control Act in 1996. And it says that if you have a misdemeanor domestic violence conviction, you are barred for a lifetime from owning firearms. Now, this revised document changes that altogether. So what this means is, prior to this being revised, you were prohibited. Now, if 5 years have passed since your conviction or since you came home from prison or whatever, like I said, this does not apply to you. But if you're one of those people that kept catching this charge in particular or any other disqualifying charge, you out of here. If you got a habit, you keep putting your hands on people, this does not apply to you. This applies to law-abiding citizens that made a poor choice in the past. They paid for it, whether it be with their time or whatever the case. They paid their debt to society and they completely follow the law, and they want their constitutional rights that shouldn't have been trampled on in the first place. This is who that applies to. I'm glad I could break this news to you. For those of you that are new to the channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions. Jump down there in the comments. If you have any more information on this that I could use, please put that down in the comments. Don't forget the links in the description below. It's Mel from the Air Defense Coalition. You guys continue to stay safe out there. Stay blessed.